Okay, so I'm going to teach everyone who watches this how to basically sight read um, notation for guitar in just this video. And it'll actually be really quick. Actually, this is one of the things I'm really good at, and I have a bunch of exercises and stuff that you can do for that. So I'm just going to show you like the process. Basically, there's three exercises that you got to get good at, and I'll show you how you can get good at them. So the first exercise I like to do is we're going to go to my website, um, demonstramusic.com. So let me just open it up here. demonstramusic.com. We're going to click on the top little blue button, the method. Just click on that, click on instruments, go to guitar, and we're going to go to the one. Well, obviously, you're going to need to know the string names first. But if you already do know the string, that's like a quick one that you can do. But if you already do know the string names, then you can skip over finger names for now. And we're just going to go find the number 10, find note on string. So we click on that. And all you need to know is that they're all tones. See how it says T here? So it's all tones except for B, C, and E, F, right? So to remember this pattern above, you memorize the saying, they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F. BC as in like British Columbia, and EF as in like, I don't know, elephant fart or something. Whatever you want to make it, that you can remember. Now tone just means +2 or -2. So you see all of these are +2 or -2. We'll get into what that means in a bit for the guitar. Just know that tone is +2 or -2 and semitone is +1 or -1. Okay, and they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F. Okay. So now we're just gonna, this video you can watch it, it'll explain it. But I'll just explain it now as we go along because I'm gonna do the whole thing. This just explains the one exercise. So continue to the next game. We're gonna do practice mode. And so it says, okay, we gotta find the C note on the A string. So first, if you know your string names, this is gonna be the big E down here. Eddie ate dynamite, goodbye Eddie, right? And so therefore we know that this is the A string here. This is the open A string. So we know, okay, this is open A string. And then we know that A to B is a tone because they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F, right? So it's a tone. So we're going to +2, 1, 2, right? Because this is on 0 and this will be on 2. So 0 + 2 is now we're on B because the tone, we're going up a tone. Okay. And then B to C, they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F, right? So B, C is going to be a semitone. So that's why we're going to go up 1. So B, C. So there we found C note on the A string. Okay, so I'm just going to click this C note here, and that'll be the fret. This is the guitar fret, by the way. This is the guitar fretboard. And you can see we have the double dot up here. So we'll just do a couple more of these, and just so you can kind of get an idea for how this game works. So C, like I said, we got one correct. And I'm just going to exit out here. Okay, now we got little E string. So little E string is it'll be this one up here, right? Little E, because this is big E down here, and this is little E up here. So E to F, because they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F, right? So E to F is a semitone. So we know that F is going to be here. So boom, we got that one there. And look, it's a C note on A string again. So we know that one is this one again. So we'll just do that there. And then we're going to find D sharp or E flat on E string. So we know this is E natural here, but we can't go lower than that. So we can't make it flat. Although, one thing that you can, I'm going to show you going up first, but then I'm going to show you a way to do it much quicker. So E to F is a semitone. F to G is a tone. So it's a space in between, right? Because we're going up 2. 1, 2, like that. G to A is a tone. A to B is a tone. B to C is a semitone because they're all tones except for B, C, and E, F. C to D is a tone. And there we have D, and then D to E is a tone as well. So we have E flat or D sharp. So basically they're both pointing to this one here. Okay, so I could just click that one there, but I'm going to show you that was the slower way of going about it. A way that you can go about that that's like much quicker is that okay, you know that this E is it's just the open E string, right? But the open E string will be the same as the double dot. So here's the double dot over here. So therefore this is also E. So that's how we could have found it much quicker is we go, okay, well this is also E. Therefore this is E flat. So instead of counting up and going E, F, G, A, B, C, D, D sharp, instead we can just go, okay, well E, which is E, therefore E flat. Okay, E flat. Okay, so I'm just going to click that E flat there. E flat. This is the easy one, E note on E string. So just big E string, by the way. So we're going to go big E, click that one. Now we're going to find D on the A string. So we're going to go, okay, we got A to B is a tone, B to C is a semitone, C to D is a tone. So boom, here we are on D. That's D on the A string. Okay, so you can practice that, and then you can also do the challenge if you click the 1 minute challenge. If you when you click it, it'll count down 1 minute, and you can see how many you can do in 1 minute. So I'm just going to reset here, and then click the start 1 minute challenge, and then we'll see what my score is, and then you can try to beat my score. Okay. Sorry. Okay, so in 1 minute I got 14 right and one wrong. Okay, so you can, and that was just first time through because sometimes when you play it a bunch of times, you start to get into like a flow state with it, and you can kind of get, you know, higher scores and stuff like that. So yeah, see if you can beat my non-flow state thing there, score there. Okay, so that's the first game. Basically, that's the fretboard. So if you get really good with the fretboard, I normally like to tell my students to play on practice mode because then you don't have like the pressure of it. But it's just kind of cool to do like the challenge mode where you can kind of see, compare your score to other people and stuff like that and be like, oh, you can try to beat my high score and all that. So anyways, that's really good. So that's the first one. So we have three basic, I'm pretty sure it's three exercises that we're going to do here. Now the second exercise is going to be on musictheory.net. Musictheory.net. I'll just open this up here. So musictheory.net, there we are. I'm going to change it so it's no longer dark mode. Go to exercises and go to note identification, the first one. Because we're doing guitar, we're going to click the gear icon up here. We're going to change the clefs to treble clef. And for now, I usually tell my students like, oh, why is this? Oh yeah, I gotta click back here. And I tell my students, okay, just take this top one and put it to the top line, and this bottom one put it to the bottom line. So it's top line of the staff, bottom line of the staff. Because you could do like top line would be like way up here, right? But just want to do top line of the staff and bottom line of the staff. So it's not this one down here, but it's this one here. Okay, and then we're just going to do lines and spaces, and we can accidentals is fine. You want to select the next question one. You make it selected for immediately, so like you get the immediate next thing. And that's perfect for when you do eventually you do the challenge mode. You can set it. You'll be like immediate, so it helps you with your time if you're doing the immediate one. So anyways, this is on a line. So the lines are every good buddy deserves friends or French fries. Okay. So we know. So therefore, this is a G sharp. So we're gonna go G sharp. Okay, so that was the lines. The lines is every good buddy deserves French fries. Okay, and then um, the spaces just spells face, so you can remember that by saying space face. Okay, so therefore we know that this is an F. Okay, now we're going to go back to the every good buddy deserves French fries thing again. Every good, so G flat, F for face. Every good buddy deserves French fries, F flat. Every, E sharp. Every good, G, G sharp. F again because face. Oops, F flat. G, B sharp because every good buddy, so B sharp. Um, F A, so A sharp. Okay. Anyway, so you can do that, and then it shows you the score like up here. And I would say just get really good at this because if you can just hang out like even on your phone and just kind of like laying down on like a nice couch or whatever, just relaxing, enjoying your time and just listening to some music and just play the heck out of this game, like just set it and just boom, A sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, E sharp, F, right, and just kind of get into a flow state with it. Can be really good. A sharp, B flat, F flat. Okay, really good for you. Um, and this will be useful for a lot of stuff, like not just guitar, because you can use the treble clef and not just guitar. You can use the treble clef in piano, in violin, in anything that uses the treble clef. In understanding music theory, they always talk in notation as opposed to tablature, because notation is kind of like the language of all music, as opposed to tablature is just the language of guitar, whereas notation is like the language of like all music and all, most when you talk with musicians like from other, it's kind of like if you lived in a country and your country like spoke a particular language, um, but the rest of the world doesn't really speak that language, right? So if you want to speak more so to like more people in the world, you would have to learn something like, let's say, English or something, right? Or like one of those big languages. So that the thing is with music is notation is like one of those really big languages that basically, all musicians will speak unless they don't know notation. They might just know tablature, which is the language of their particular instrument or their particular country. So, anyways, yeah, you just get really good at that. I'm just gonna do a challenge mode here. So I'm gonna go down here. Oops. We're going to go down to challenge mode. We're going to select it for 1 minute. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. So when I click this, it'll get me started. E flat, F sharp, E, E sharp, B sharp, E sharp, B flat, B, A sharp, C flat, B sharp, F flat, B flat, A sharp, C, G, B, F, F, C sharp, C, C flat, A flat, E flat, G, D flat, F, G, C sharp, E flat, C, G sharp, D sharp, E sharp, D, B sharp, E, E flat, B flat, G, E sharp. Okay, 42. So see if you can do, just it's just you can kind of compare. So that's the 42. So and then I'm gonna be doing like I'm gonna start because I really like doing as I was really into like the medieval ages, and I always like the idea of like they'd have like a competition like an archery competition and or like fighting competition with the swords and stuff, and then whoever won or like jousting and stuff, and whoever won would like win some type of prize or something like that. I'm like, oh, it'd be cool if I could do something like that with my with just people and just that's like a fun thing to do. And so I'm thinking I'm gonna start holding some type of like challenge thing where basically if you win the challenge you can win certain prizes for like free lessons or something like that. Okay, so that's that. And now let me just move that back. Now the thing is with guitar, you don't want to just do, see how we have it set to just the top line and the bottom line? But you also have to do the lines above here, okay? So we're going to set this to the space above the staff and the third line, okay? So let's go back here and we're going to turn off challenge mode for now. And that should be good. Okay, so now the lines above the treble clef basically just says ace. That's all I want you to remember is ace. A, C, E. Okay, because if you know where the lines are, then you know where the spaces are because you go, okay, well this if this the line is A, then this is one down from the line. So what's one before A in music is G. So this will be a G sharp. Okay, now it's another space, so you can also go up. So we know that like this second line is C, therefore one up from C is D. So we'll click D. Okay, there's that G again. That should be easy. Second line C, because ace. There's the G again, G flat again. Now this is A flat, we know that's because it's on the line. E flat because it's on the line, it's easy, ace. And then this is one up from A, which is the bottom line, so that's going to be B. That's one up from C, which is going to now be D. Okay, so B, C flat, D sharp, G flat, C flat. Okay, so you can start to practice E sharp, start practicing those ones as well. And you can also do the challenge mode for that one as well. So I'm going to switch that now. We're going to, so it's the lines above, and all you have to do, the last part is the lines below. So you're going to do the first space below the treble clef, and you're going to move this down. And we're not just going to go 3 lines below, we're going to go 1 space below the third line, because that's open E string, okay? So we'll just do that. Now, in order to do the lines below the treble clef, 1, 2, 3, it basically just says CAF, C-A-F, C-A-F. So one way of remembering that is kind of like calf. It's like your calf muscle in your leg. And you can remember it because it's like lower than the treble clef. Okay? So your calf muscle. And then we do this, that you just have to know the lines again. So if you know, okay, well, this is, the second line is an A, so it's one down from A, which is a G, so therefore it's G sharp. This is the first line, so that's C. Second line, which is A flat. Easy peasy. Okay, now this is below the F. So below the F, which means one before F in the alphabet, which is E. Okay. Actually, you know what? You could even add in the fourth line, which is D. Caft. Okay. I don't know how you want to remember that. Some people will say something like cows always. Right? They just come up with something. Cows always fart. Fart disgustingly. Okay. Anyways, so you get that, you get the idea there. But I like kind of just making them simpler, more like calf or caft. So this is, you could go, so this one is below the second line, but we could go to the third line and say it's above the third line. So the third line is F, so this one is, what comes after F is G. So we know this is a G flat. Again, it's a G. Now it's the first line, so it's a C sharp. Okay. Now, anyways, when you get really good with those ones as well, you can practice them individually. So you're going to practice essentially the staff itself, and then you're going to practice the lines and the spaces above, and then you're going to just 3 though. You only have to do 3. It's fine. And then the lines and the spaces below, and you can do 4, which would be CAFD, C-A-F-D. Okay. And then once you've done those, we can go over here to treble range, and we can move this all the way up to the third line like that. So we're covering all 3 parts at the same time. Now you got F, G flat, F sharp, E, D sharp, F sharp, A sharp, right? So then if you wanted to challenge me with this one, We'll go to challenge mode. I'm going to set that to 1 minute. We'll see how I do, and then how you, if you wanted to challenge that and see what my score is. So ready, go. We got E sharp, B sharp, A sharp, A, C, E flat, E sharp, B flat, E, A, E flat, A flat, D sharp, D flat I mean, oh sorry, it's D sharp, F sharp, brain fart, E flat, E sharp, D flat, G sharp, A, F sharp, A sharp, C, C sharp, F sharp, D flat, G, F, G, F flat, A sharp, D flat, F flat, D sharp. Okay, so 32 correct and 1 incorrect. Okay, because I thought it was, I looked at it and it said, I think it said sharp, but then I convinced myself after looking at it that it was flat, that it must have been flat. So, anyways, and then that's just, when you do that a bunch of times, you can get into a flow state and you can really pick up speed. So yeah, see how you do with that. So that covers, so far we've covered the fretboard. Okay, so that's the first exercise, the notes on the fretboard, and then we've covered the notes on the staff. So that's the second exercise, and then we're going to do the third thing. Now the third thing is because like I might have talked about a bit before. Like, let me go back to this exercise here. Yeah, so eventually we're going to be doing this exercise here. Let me just bring it up. No recognition. So eventually we're going to be doing this. This is the ultimate exercise that I want you to eventually get to, which combines all of the exercises before. And now the problem with this one is that you go, okay, well this is an A because of the calf, right? C-A-F. And so we know that that's an A, but what A is it, right? Because you got this A here, which is this A. But then you've also got this A here, which is this A. But then you've also got this A, what color will we use? Green maybe? We got this A here, which is this A, okay? Those are all the A. And so if you find the A, you go, okay, well, what A is it, right? So that's what I'm gonna show you here. Basically what you need to do is you need to know where all the natural notes are, or sorry, all the open strings are. So open strings, the big E string is going to be this one down here. That's going to be E down here. And then you've got A, which is going to be 2 lines, which is this one here. Okay, so we'll just do that there. So that's this A string. And then we've got we'll do like D, we'll use orange. Okay, so you got D, which is this one, orange. And then you got, let's say G is green. Okay, that's this open G string here. Then we'll do B is blue. We'll do light blue because it stands out a little better. Okay, so blue, that's this open B string. And then the last one is the little E string. And we'll do that as, I don't know, just white because it's E like that. Okay, so basically, like if I play this game here, let me click the A. Now you can see that this note here, it's kind of hard to see now because I've written over it, but this is like one line below. Oops. Yeah, so it's one line below. It's basically like that. So then we go, okay, well we know that that's a C, but we know where it is now because you always want to go to the one below it. So the one below it is this pink one, which is A. So we're going to go, okay, so that should be a C on the A string. So we're going to go A, B, because it's up a tone, right? And then C. And see how we're playing the other game now too, right? Okay, that's C on this fret. And so if we click that there, then we should get another correct. See? Correct. Oops. Move up a bit so it realigns. Realign. Anyways, doesn't matter. It's thrown off now. But yeah, so you get the idea. So basically, that's how we figured it out. But in order to do that, we need to figure out this third exercise, and I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. So close that. We're going to open up my MuseScore. And this is the last one. So once you have this one, you can actually play that main game and then just actually start to sight read notation with guitar instead of just tablature. And if you can do that, like that, that's like next level thing. Like I know a lot of musicians, and the ones who can sight read notation tend to be the ones that have gone really, really far with not just guitar, but like with multiple instruments. And the reason why is because if you can sight read notation for guitar, then, and like I was saying before, you take that same treble clef, you can apply it to the violin, you can apply it to the treble clef on piano, you can apply it to a flute, you can apply it to this, you can apply it to that, anything that has a treble clef. Okay, so if you get really good with the treble clef, you can start to apply it to so many things, and that's how I was able. It has a lot of cross transferability like that, and so it's kind of like you learn the language of English, and now you can go to this country and that country and this country and that country. And even though they all speak different languages, you can still communicate with them through a more universal language like English. So yeah, that's a really useful thing to know is the notation. Plus, all of music theory is pretty much discussed through notation. So if you understand notation, like when I was doing music theory and I didn't really understand notation very well, it kind of sucked because I was always like struggling, like, what does this mean? Like had to take my time to really figure it out. So I wish I had kind of like things like this. So it's like, necessity is the mother of innovation or whatever, of invention. And that's because, I made these things because I wish I kind of had them back when I was doing my own stuff. And so, yeah, and so when I was doing my theory, it was hard because I didn't really understand the notation as well as I should have at that time. And so, yeah, you can get really good at those, and then the notation just becomes, sorry, the theory becomes so much easier just because the notation becomes so much easier. And then you're just using this to apply it to guitar. But also, when I decided at one point, I wanted to learn violin, people are like, oh, wow, you like be able to pick up violins so quickly. And the reason why is because I understand these foundational elements of like, like where the how the fretboard works on the guitar, and how that the open strings play out on the fretboard, and where the notation, and because I already knew the treble clef, I could already figure out the note names and stuff very quickly. So when I went to violin, I was able to pick it up really quickly. And then also when I went back to piano again, I had to like re-update my revive my bass clef because I'd been playing so many things with treble clef that my bass clef was kind of weak. So I had to focus on just the bass clef for a bit, and I'll make another video about that stuff for piano players. But yeah, I just focus on my bass clef to get that really good, and then now I can, when I play piano, I can sight read piano very very easily. So there's just so many cross transferable things. So the reason why I'm really trying to get into that is because I really want people to understand how useful it can be. Because I think a lot of people go, oh, it's hard, and then they never even try to attempt to learn it. But like I said, the musicians I know who have learned these things have just you know done so many interesting things with music just because they can really understand the music theory, they can really understand what's going on, and they can apply that foundational level music theory to so many different instruments and stuff. Okay, so let's go over here. Okay, so now we're just going to basically talk about the last exercise here. So what I'm going to do is show you the open strings of the guitar. So first is open E string. This is the A string, the D string, G string, B string, and a little E string. Okay, I'm just going to give them note names here so it's easier for everyone to follow along. Note name, pitch name, there we go. And close. Okay, now here's how you memorize. So you want to memorize this pattern. Now here's how you do it. There's basically, I think, 3 steps to do it. So the first step is just remember that the first note is below the third line. Okay, that's open E. Below the third line. So we got the three lines and it's just one below that. So 1, 2, 3, and it's below that. And that'll be E. That's the open E string. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to remember. The next thing is basically everything else is up a fourth. So if we count from here, we count like 1, because we always want to start where we are. And the next one up is going to be a line on the line. So 2, because it's on the line like that. Right, whereas this one here, the 1 is on the space where the E is. The 2 is now going to be on the line. The 3 is going to be on the space. And the 4 is going to be on the line. So now we're on the second line. And you can see we've gone up a fourth. And boom, now we're on the A. Okay, and then I'm going to show you, okay, the rest of them are actually all fourths as well. So sometimes I like to draw that like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, up a fourth. And then we're going to go up another fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, you got that one. And then I'm just going to move this one over here like this, because this is this. It's on the space still. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then this B to E is also a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the third thing you want to remember is that this G to B is the only one that is a third. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so those are the three things you want to remember. If you can remember those three things, you can understand, you can memorize this pattern, and then it'll be a lot easier for you to do the whole thing, the whole exercise once we get to the full exercise thing. So then if I say, okay, well, like if we have, I'm going to write like we'll say like, I don't know, let's just do this one up here. So we go, okay, that one, and we go, okay, I'm just going to tell you it's a G. And it's okay, well, where is it on the guitar? Well, actually, if you want to find it, it's just find the G on the little E string, because this will be the little E string. It's the first one down, okay? Or you could go like, okay, let's do this one here. So this will be a C, but then we want to go to the first one down. So the first one down will actually be this B, right? Because the B is actually just one line below it. So then basically all that's telling us is that we're going to find the C, right, on the B string. So once you have those three exercises down, you can just really start to master it by just hanging out, in your bed or on your couch or whatever, just kind of like listening to some ambient music or something, enjoying yourself, sipping a tea and playing this game. So now I'm going to show you the ultimate game where all those come together into one exercise. And this is like the ultimate exercise. Okay, so we know this is G, and if you know, okay, that's actually, it'll be open G string. So that's this one here. Okay, this is above the little E string, so that'll be on the E string here. So at B, we're going to find B on the E string. Okay, this is B open, which is the middle line, which is actually open B string. Okay, and then this is above that little E string again. Remember the little E string was up here. So this is an A that's above the little E string. So E, F, G, A, right? It'll be this one here. And then this one is below. This one is below the A, which is 2 lines down. But it's above the E, which is below the third line. Okay, so this will be on, essentially it's saying it's an F on the big E string. So we're going to go to the big E string down here. So we got E here, and then F will be this one here. Boom, click F. Boom, done. This one's easy because the second line, so that's A string, open A string. Okay, so you can start to play it like that. And I know if I'm doing this all in like one video, it seems really tricky. It seems really like some people might, start creating like self-imposed limiting beliefs, like, oh, I can't do that. But I've got students, like kid students, who I've taken like step by step through this process. If you just micro learning, you just slowly go through this stuff and learn each exercise really well, and then go to the next exercise that I showed you and learn that really well. These kids in like a couple of weeks are sight reading actual notation, which a lot of musicians don't do their entire lives. So this is like the best method that I know. In like my 19 years of teaching, I've been teaching since 2007, and um, and this is like the best. Like I kept thinking, how do I teach this better? How do I teach this better? And so this is like one of the best ways that I know of to teach this particular thing. Now the only thing that'll probably hold you back at this point will probably be yourself, in the sense that like a lot of people find it's hard to hold themselves accountable, and that's why it's good to do lessons, because then you have somebody who, each week you show up. Most people won't show up for themselves, but they'll show up for a lesson. So there's just something about, if you have to set in the lesson, and then that helps move you forward, because it holds you to account, and it holds you to a standard, and it keeps, the teacher hopefully will encourage you and move you forward, and be like, actually you are progressing really well, because sometimes we think we're not actually progressing, but we actually are progressing quite a lot. So sometimes we can start to trick ourselves and start creating self-imposed limiting beliefs and all that. Um, but yeah, that's the. I just want to show you the ultimate process of going from from not knowing how to do any of it, basically, to now being able to sight read um, guitar from notation, which is again one of the best things that you can do in terms of like also just a great brain exercise. And if you just sit there and you just practice this a bunch on your phone, um, you're just gonna get quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker with it. Because eventually, at first you just when you do these things, you'll be like, um, it'll be like, every good buddy, and then you'll be like, okay, B buddy, and then you'll be like, okay, well B, so then Eddie 8 dynamic goodbye, and you'll be okay, so there's probably this B here, so then I'll click this B, then, but you'll really have to like, or like this one for instance is an E up here, but let me just do this real quick so we can find like one that gets my point across. So this is a B here, and we know it's on the A string, so we got, okay, here's A, and then A to B is a tone, so therefore B, right? So it'll take you a while when you're first doing it, but after you start to get comfortable with it, you can just be like, boom, you see it's A, and I know exactly where it is, boom, F. And that's why you just want to practice the heck out of these games. Okay. Now this one, I'm just going to add in one little special bonus here, okay? Because technically this note here is this A here, okay? But if you want to make it a little harder, one thing that you can do is most of them are like +5 if you want to go to the next string down. So you can find the exact same note. So let me highlight this note. You can find this exact same note on the next string down if you +5. So if we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it'll be this one. And actually this will be also an A. And so if we click this button here, we'll get a point. See, it says 17. We're going to get 18 if I click that. Oops. Boom. 18. Cool, right? So that's a way that you can start to make it a little more difficult. Now this B here, so all of them are connected by +5, but this is from the B to the G is connected by 4. Okay, so it's connected by 4. So actually, if we want to find the B on the next string, on this G string, what we're going to have to do is +4. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. So then, boom, it'll be 4. But everything else is +5. So yeah, just wanted to show everyone the ultimate process there. Like I said, sometimes it's going to be hard to hold yourself to account and progress as quickly as you'd like, because we just don't hold ourselves to the same standards that a teacher could hold you to, because some people just don't know what standard they could hold themselves to, right? Some students think that they can't do something, but then the teacher knows that they can do it, and that they can do it in a short amount of time, and because they've done it so many times with other students before. And so sometimes those self-limiting beliefs can really throw a wrench in your gears, but in your own gears too. But sometimes just like having a good teacher that's going to be like, no, you can do this, and we're probably going to be able to do this in like just a couple weeks, and then you'll be able to have it solid, and then you can just practice Once you understand, you have it all together and you can just practice it, and then it just becomes so much more fluid. It's like when you first start reading, you see the word hello and you're like, lo, right? But then after a while, nowadays when you see the word hello, you could see it in the corner of your eye and your brain would immediately think hello. And that's basically how my brain now works, and a lot of my students' brains now work. When they see when they see these notes, they immediately think boom F and boom F like that, right? Or F here like that, and then we can plus it by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, or F here like that. Okay, so you can find F on all those different strings. So let's try it there. Boom, 20. Okay, so anyways, I don't know how long that was, but figured I'd make a little video about it and hope that is helpful for some people. And if you feel like you need some more assistance, you can reach out to me. And I've got some great deals going on with my lessons, and I'd be happy to chat and figure out something that can work for you. And yeah, rock on.